Hi everyone, and welcome to the latest in my Would I Recommend series, where I give you a brief and honest opinion of a game after I've finished with it. And today I ask, would I recommend Red Dead Redemption 2? Oh yes, definitely I would. It's one of the best games I've ever played. I thoroughly loved it, and I'm going to tell you why, but be warned, it's not without its problems, some of them quite critical. If you're into Let's Play, you can watch my entire playthrough at the link down below. The story in the single-player campaign is actually set before the events that occur in Red Dead Redemption 1. You play as Arthur Morgan, a very likeable henchman in a gang of outlaws on the run. You'll be trying to stay one step ahead of the law whilst moving from hideout to hideout throughout the Old West and a few other locations as well, meeting interesting and often crazy characters, looking for work, mostly of the dishonest variety, fighting, hunting, and just trying not to get yourself hung. Whilst the game's story is pretty linear, you can take on stages of it at your leisure, and the rest of the time, you're just free to explore. The game is free roam for the most part, with some areas unlocked until later in the game, but you can just go where you want, find secret stuff, hidden stuff, Easter eggs, just go hunting, just enjoy the scenery, just do whatever you like. And before the end of it all, you'll have had fun, excitement, sadness, and hilarity, all in good measure. The game also features a multiplayer online mode, but I found that a little bland without the colourful characters in the single-player story mode. However, you might like it if you want to grab some mates and go robbing banks and stagecoaches. Now, we'll come on to some of the problems with the game shortly, but first off, I'm going to tell you everything that I liked about Red Dead 2, and it's quite a long list. First off, one of the key ones, it's the story. The story of this, which I'm not going to give away and spoil here, absolutely draws you in. You feel like you're invested not only in the character of Arthur Morgan, but also in the gang of misfits that you're running around in. And like all good tales, it's got moments of sadness and tragedy combined with moments of absolute hilarity. And the story is enhanced so much by the characters that you meet in the game. They are so well done. Now, I don't necessarily like them all. In fact, there are some that I absolutely despise. And you just want to see them get their comeuppance at the end. This has a great mix of both, and it is really well written. Now, whilst I said the story is fairly linear, there are moments when you can make decisions that will affect the outcome to various missions. And the missions of the story, you don't necessarily have to do them in a set order. There are some stages that will need to be done to unlock further areas on the map, further events, and further parts of the story. There's lots of very cinematic moments, lots of dialogue, which is excellently done, and lots of moments where you'll just be riding around listening to people fill you in on stuff. And do you know what? Sometimes it can get a bit much, but for the most part, it's done well, and I enjoyed it. Which leads me into my next point. You can just have fun with this game. Even when you're in a story mission, if you see something silly you want to try, like maybe driving that stagecoach over the waterfall, or tying somebody up and throwing them off a cliff, you can just do it. There's no great penalty. Especially if it's in a story mode, because if it's a mission critical character, you'll fail the mission, but you'll just go back to the last checkpoint and get to try it out all over again. And you don't normally have to go back that far. And do you know what, folks? It is so worth it because you can find so many crazy things to do. I highly recommend you try and do many missions in what you might consider a wrong and stupid way just to see what happens, because I can promise you, you'll have fun doing it. I had loads of fun accidentally setting myself on fire, accidentally blowing up things I wasn't supposed to. Just go out there and experiment. But even outside the story missions, you can just go and do silly stuff. And yes, okay, sometimes you might get the law coming after you. You might lose a few honor points, which you can try and make back up later by being a good guy. But just go out and have fun. And that's what games are often missing these days. Some are too dark and serious. Some just don't think about this. Some give you just massive grinds to do. But the ones where you can actually play in the game, they're the ones that are worth getting. And you can do this in bounds here. Now, if you've been watching the visuals in the background, you'll notice that they look amazing. And this was another great point of the game. When I was just riding around exploring, I was just happy to look at the mountains, the woods, the stream, the animals grazing in the pastures over in the distance. It is really nicely done. It looks fantastic. There's a few issues with some textures, particularly on beards. Now, I had the graphic settings turned all the way up, but this might have been unique to me. Other people might not experience this. I don't know. But overall, they look great. And the odd issues where sometimes some of the outfits and clothing clips through the character models, you can totally forgive that. Another key point here, the voice acting. Every character that I have met in this and listened to, especially the main ones, is voice acted superbly. There's just no issues I can pick up with accents and recordings and dialogue. It is fantastic. Have a listen.
Arthur! Excuse me, Miss O'Shea.
What you want?
I bring a gift. The great gift of information.
So you got some tip-off, so now I can risk my neck and make you some money while you lounge around.
You know, Arthur, bitterness, it works on the inside as well as on your sour face.
If you say so, but you could go find some other fool to run your errands.
Bill, come on over here. Will you be my other fool? You too, Charles.
What are you talking about?
Arthur's above a little stick-up I heard about.
No, I'm not.
You just said...
Hey, I'll do it, as long as you ride with us.
I got a serious medical condition.
Yes, you are a compulsive liar.
No need to be like that. Charles, have I ever lied to you?
I hardly know you.
Exactly. Now, you boys should do this. It's easy, and I'll only take a small commission for my information. But it's now or never.
And because it's done so well, it makes you want to pay attention to the story and those long dialogue scenes in the missions. So just well done. Another great point. Also the soundtracks as well. There are some truly epic pieces of music, particularly towards the end of the game. Definitely have the music turned on loud enough and enjoy it. But also just silly little things. You'll be riding past some random stranger in town and he'll be whistling something like Oh Susanna, and just little things like that. You hear stuff and it just makes you stop and listen. The bird song as you're going through the woods. Audio visually, this game is fantastic. So, next point that I liked was the weapons, in particular the guns that you've got available. Yes, it's a Wild West game, so you need to be able to use the guns and enjoy them, and there's a huge selection in this as well. There's sometimes not a lot of difference between them all, but, you know, it's there for style points, right? You go and use the weapons that you want that look cool, not necessarily the ones that are the best. But you got rifles, repeating carbines, revolvers, some fancy pistols, as well as lobbing dynamite and other stuff about. And there's a few melee weapons too, and the good old lasso as well, which you can have a lot of fun with. So overall, it's nice. Different types of ammunition, some craftable ammunitions, which are good fun, particularly like the explosive shotgun shells. So go out and enjoy that. It's all good, but again, you don't need to worry about the best way of doing something. Just go for style. My personal preference was the double-barreled shotgun. All the weapons are slightly customizable too, which leads me into the next point, and that is general customization. Not so much of the guns, which is cool, but Arthur's character can be customized a hell of a lot too. There's loads of different outfits that you can buy, unlock, get hold of, whatever, and just make Arthur look the way you want him to look. And sometimes you need to change those outfits because there's different climates in the game. You might want a hot weather one, a cold weather one. It does affect your stats slightly. It's not too critical, but it's kind of nice to have a change around every now and again. And you can also just mix and match the different styles and look however you want. It is cool. And also Arthur's beard and chops and mustache. You can do whatever you want with that too. There's even hair tonic if you want to make him look like a Sasquatch. And finally, something that I just really loved was just the fact that you can free roam pretty much anywhere where you want in this game. You can go hunting, just go exploring, looking at scenery. There's treasure maps in this as well, by the way, which will make you really pay attention to some of the scenery. You can look for secrets, there's Easter eggs, just explore, find stuff. It's just so immersive, it draws you in. The story is good, but I spent probably a good half or more of the game just wandering around, doing some of the in-game challenges that there is, hunting for materials to make new equipment. But however, every silver lining has to have a cloud, and there are some issues with this game. I'm going to mention the most critical one first, and that is that on the PC, this suffers from major technical issues. Now, however, some people don't get affected by these whatsoever. For others, they are a nightmare, ranging from things like the Rockstar launcher itself just refusing to start up or to load the game, to the game crashing at the same point in a particular mission. That one came in with a patch, I think, and if it hadn't been for my viewers on Twitch desperately searching the internet, that could have been a game-ending experience there, or at least a story-ending experience. And there's another one that loads of people have had. It's called the graphic state error, which kind of implies it's a graphic setting that's the problem. However, this error comes up time and time again, and there are numerous possible fixes, and looking for the one that you will require can be like looking for a needle in a haystack. It's not just a case of changing from DirectX 12 to Vulkan, like it says in all the Reddit posts. Sometimes it's something way more obscure. And in my case, and this happened to me 3 times at least throughout the playthrough, I had to delete all my save games, delete all my settings in the game, start the game as if I was starting from scratch and go through the tutorial, or at least the intro again, then whilst the game was running, sneakily copy back in my save games, which I had backed up, and load back into my last point from there. And I only found that through a really obscure post on some forum, which wasn't really related to this error message. And by God, if I hadn't have found that, it would have been a game-breaking experience. And there will be people out there who haven't been able to find out the fix for that, who've just had to give up on the game. It was a killer. Now, you may be one of the lucky people who have no technical issues whatsoever with the game, but there's a hell of a lot of folks, myself included, who have come to the point of almost having to give up on it completely due to some technical issue or other. Other than that, my only real issues with the game are kind of down to personal preferences. The biggest one is the law in the game. Yeah, okay, so it's got this system where if you do something illegal and you get seen and that witness reports it, you get a bounty on your head and the AI bounty hunters come out and the sheriff will come after you and stuff like that. That's fair enough. But this law is really heavy-handed. For example, if you bump into someone in the street, that can count as assault. And even if you don't do anything more to antagonize anyone, people can suddenly start pulling their guns out and shooting you. And if you try to shoot them back in self-defense, well, that's murder, and the entire town will turn on you. This led to me massacring the entire population of Valentine's about 4 times because I accidentally trod on someone's foot and then had to defend myself as they were trying to pump bullets into my skull. Some people will see that as quite funny and amusing. When it happens a lot, it gets kind of annoying. You always feel like you're being treated unfairly. Crime doesn't seem to pay in this game, which is quite odd because you are playing an outlaw. Other than that, the looting and movement system in the camp and buildings is a pain in the backside. For looting things, you almost have to be in a pixel-perfect position stood over the top of them. And when you're in buildings or in your own camp, you can't run, you can't move fast. It's like you're wading through treacle and trying to just get in the right spot. I found that really awkward, whether I was using mouse and keyboard or controller. And the tutorial, if you watch my Let's Play series, then you'll hear me moaning throughout the tutorial. It is set on rails. It goes on a long time, nearly 3 hours, I think, for me. And it is very limited. You can't go off and do what you want. If you see something just off the track, like a bear that I found, I thought, oh, I'm going to go and hunt that guy. Ran off after him. Nope, mission failed. You will sit on the rails. You will do as you're told. You will listen to the hours and hours of dialogue. And it makes you worry that, God, is the entire game going to be like this? Because the tutorial seems quite dark and grim. And you're thinking, I didn't realize this game was going to be so downbeat. I thought it was going to be more like GTA Wild West. The good news is that once you're out of that tutorial phase, the game opens up massively. It becomes fun. There's crazy, silly things to do. And for me, it was like night and day. And I fell in love with it after that point. But the tutorial went on a long time. And I won't lie, I didn't enjoy it. But that was perhaps just me personally. So overall, despite the issues I have listed, and the technical issues are really the only major thing that might stop people buying this, I would happily recommend this to anyone. It's one of the best games I think I have ever played. And that's because of the story and the characters. They are so well done, so well written, and so well voice acted that it just pulls you in. The fact that some of your decisions in the game can affect the ending that you get as well makes it all the more intriguing and interesting. So yeah, I would rate this one a good solid 9 out of 10. Definitely one of my favourites, and I hope you guys enjoy it too. So if you'd like to see me play more games like this, there's a link to my Twitch channel below. Just go and click on that. Come and say hi and join in the discussion as we explore these things. Otherwise, have fun in Red Dead 2, and I'll see you on the next one.